Hello everyone, and welcome to my BNB24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Bold and the Beautiful commences with a heartbreaking announcement that Lisa Yamada, who has portrayed the fiery, conflicted, and increasingly fragile Luna Nozawa, has completed filming. This development will be remembered as one of the most unpredictable and haunting in recent memory. It is the type of exit that no one saw coming, not after months of emotional investment from viewers who had grown to see Luna not merely as a young designer but as the embodiment of promise and peril. Luna was a girl who entered the Forrester world with starry eyes and left it shattered, her light dimmed by the chaos of secrets, obsession, and betrayal. The tragic fate of Luna has become a seismic turning point within the show, uniting every significant family, including the Forresters, Spencers, Finnegans, Logans, and the long-shadowed Carters and Nozawas who have haunted Los Angeles with their tangled histories. The scene at the beginning of this week's episodes is deceptively quiet, featuring a montage of the Forrester Creations offices illuminated by soft morning light, sketches dispersed across Luna's desk, and an empty chair that appears more symbolic than vacant. Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, anticipates that Luna will be working late as usual when she enters the design office. However, she is met with a calm that appears to consume her. Luna's final text message was to Poppy, which was succinct and cryptic: "I made a mistake, Mom." The phrase, "Please do not hate me," initiates a series of emotional outbursts. Poppy, Romy Park, arrives at the Forrester building in sobs, demanding answers, within minutes. The car belonging to her daughter is missing, her apartment is vacant, and her phone is shut off. Even Finn, Tanner Novlin, who is typically the embodiment of composure in high-pressure situations, is unable to escape the sinking sensation that something irreversible has occurred. The Bold and the Beautiful is the only show that can transform a sense of foreboding into operatic television, rendering it raw, glossy, and devastatingly human. The episode subsequently pivots as flashbacks fill the screen, showcasing fragments of Luna's ascent and descent. The spark in her eye as Ridge, Torsten K., welcomed her aboard, and the flutter of forbidden exhilaration when R.J., Joshua Hoffman, first brushed her hand over a sketch pad are evoked in the minds of viewers, who are transported back to her first day at Forrester Creations. There was a youthful eagerness and innocence that seemed to be a reference to the next generation of Forrester brilliance. But those memories are interwoven with a darker thread: the fateful Mint incident night, the betrayal that tore apart her relationship with R.J., and the spiraling remorse that drove Luna further into her mother's and Lee Finnegan's, Naomi Matsuda, competing orbits. Luna, torn between maternal extremes, was unable to find her footing in a world that prioritizes control and image, as Poppy's well-meaning interference clashed with Lee's harsh judgments. Lisa Yamada's nuanced portrayal transformed that unraveling into something that was achingly believable. The narrative that originated as a narrative about youthful love evolved into a cautionary tale about the pressure, shame, and identity that exist within a family empire that consumes its own. The narrative engine of the show is now operating at maximum capacity in the aftermath of Luna's disappearance. In one of the most electrifying sequences of the season, Poppy enters the hospital, convinced that Finn is concealing information. She confronts Lee: "You evicted her." Poppy's eyes are ablaze as she screams, "You and your judgment, your rules, your cold perfection." The argument escalates until Finn steps between them, divided between his loyalty to the woman who raised him and the compassion he feels for the woman who gave him his half-sister. Lee's response is as sharp as ice: "If you had been a true mother, she wouldn't have needed to conceal her shame." He finally states, his voice quivering, "She has vanished. And all we are doing is blaming each other instead of finding her." This moment resonates throughout the hospital hallways and the emotional landscape of the show, serving as a reminder of the recurring nature of generational trauma in the Forrester orbit. In the meantime, Bill, Don Diamond, is in his office at Spencer Publications, where he is viewing a news alert on his phone that reads, "Forrester designer reported missing, family seeks help." His eyes are alight with guilt, and he is reminded of his harsh words to Luna at the jail after the shooting scandal, when he told her that she would rot in prison and never see the baby again. Although he justified his actions as a means of protecting his family, those words now haunt him deeply. Will Finnegan George observes his father's silence and inquires gently, "Do you believe you went too far with Luna?" Bill's mandible becomes clenched. He concedes, possibly. However, there are instances in which you exceed your bounds in an effort to do the right thing. In an uncommon instance of vulnerability, the ruthless magnate lowers his defenses and acknowledges that Luna reminded him of a wild, lost soul he once cherished. Bill Spencer's tragedy is that he invariably loses people in the process of attempting to protect them by controlling them. The narrative is further enriched by the gathering of Ridge and Brooke at the Forrester estate, where they are joined by Steffi and Hope, Annika Noel. This gathering is reminiscent of a family vigil. Brooke's maternal instincts are activated, and she perceives similarities to her own past in Luna's downfall, a young woman suffering consequences for actions that were not wholly her own. "I am aware of the experience of being scrutinized," Brooke confides quietly. "And I have experienced the feeling of losing oneself in an effort to please everyone." Nevertheless, Steffi continues to be torn. Luna's potential was once recognized by her, however, it has been irreparably damaged. The wedge between her husband Finn and Luna has not entirely healed as a result of Finn's guilt over Luna's mental state and his near obsession with saving her. Steffi is concerned that Luna's tragedy will continue to haunt Finn indefinitely, and that she will eternally be the ghost in their marriage, irrespective of the outcome. The following day, a chilling discovery is made: Luna's vehicle, with its doors open and her phone on the seat, is located near Mulholland Drive. The only indication of a struggle is a folded piece of paper that bears the words "I'm sorry." This note serves as the focal point of an emotional episode that challenges the consciences of all characters. Finn rushes to the scene, his doctor's composure replaced by frantic desperation, as Poppy collapses in sorrow. Lee, torn between pride and grief, discovers herself whispering a prayer she never anticipated uttering. And in one of the most poetic visual sequences of the show, a montage of flashbacks is played over a haunting piano score. The montage features Luna laughing at the Forrester fashion show, Luna sketching her first design, Luna weeping in her car after RJ ended things, and Luna pleading with her mother to understand. Lisa Yamada's performance in this context is unparalleled. It is visceral, multifaceted, and nearly unbearably authentic. As the camera moves across the hills of Los Angeles, fans are left to ponder whether Luna's narrative has truly concluded, or if, as the bold and the beautiful so frequently reminds us, the deceased never truly disappear. RJ is confronted with feelings of regret upon his return to Forrester Creations. As he remains alone in the design office, clutching one of Luna's sketchbooks, he is unable to stop rehearsing the final words he said to her: "I can't trust you anymore." Hope enters discreetly, observing him. "You harbored affection for her," she declares. "You continue to do so." RJ agrees, and tears stream down his face. "I resisted her when she required my assistance the most. And now she is gone." Hope, who understands the pain of losing love to circumstance more than anyone, offers him a straightforward truth: "You cannot save everyone, RJ. However, you can remember her correctly, with love, not guilt." That moment, which is both understated and profoundly human, serves as a foundation for the chaos in a wave of shared vulnerability. It is also the ideal platform for the show's generational storytelling, as it illustrates the transition from one era of sorrow to another. The subsequent episode commences with shocking news. A hiker discovered an object near the cliffs, a scarf that was entangled on a limb and matched the one Luna was last observed wearing. For Steffi, it is a sense of déjà vu, a reflection of her own trauma with Finn and Sheila, which includes gunfire, miracles, and resurrections. She makes an effort to maintain her composure, however, Finn's collapse causes her much distress. He is plagued by nightmares in which Luna calls out to him, imploring for assistance. He confesses in the living room, his eyes bloodshot, "I hear her voice, Steffi." Steffi, torn between empathy and exhaustion, implores him to cease torturing himself. "I don't think she's gone." However, viewers are aware that the bold and the beautiful thrives on this type of haunting ambiguity. Is Luna deceased, or has she fled in order to evade the judgment that is edging closer to her? The query looms over each scene like a ghostly mist. Meanwhile, in a surprising turn of events, Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown, returns to the canvas in a moment that redefines redemption and pandemonium once more. She encounters a young woman who is hiding, fearful, and bruised while working at a roadside diner under an alias. Luna is the name. Sheila's initial response is one of complete astonishment. She whispers, "You are supposed to be deceased." Luna, her hands shaking, confesses that she fabricated her disappearance in order to escape the voices in her mind, including her mother's disappointment, Lee's contempt, and RJ's anguish. Luna is taken under Sheila's protection in a moment of extraordinary compassion. "You are not lost," she assures her. "You are merely fleeing from individuals who have never recognized your value." This extraordinary narrative twist is directly linked to Luna's survival and Sheila's redemption trajectory. Luna, a character created by Lisa Yamada, embarks on a voyage of rebirth in the company of the woman whom everyone believed was beyond saving, now devoid of glamour and pretense. Poppy begins to perceive the truth upon her return to Los Angeles. A half-finished illustration of a butterfly Luna used to doodle is included in an anonymous postcard to her. The phrase "I am not gone" is situated beneath it. The postcard that revived her hope. "Don't let them destroy me again," sparked a mother's quest that is interwoven with Sheila's secret redemption narrative. Romy Park's performances are so powerful that they seem to be destined for Emmy consideration, and Poppy's sorrow is transformed into determination. In the interim, Lee's guilt transforms into an obsession, and she is determined to unearth the truth, even if it requires her to align with those whom she once despised. It is a perfect storm of conflicting motives, including professional pride, moral ambiguity, and maternal fury, all of which are swirling around Luna's shadow. The Bold and the Beautiful concludes the week with one of its most emotionally charged cliffhangers in recent memory. Poppy pursues a lead to a small coastal motel, where she discovers a woman departing just as she arrives. Sheila, who is carrying a duffel bag and is wearing eyeglasses, is the individual in question. Their eyes meet for a brief moment, a moment that is infused with history and implicit recognition. "Where is she?" Poppy demands. The door closes, and the camera pans to a dimly lit room inside, where Luna is seated by the window, her face partially obscured, and sketching the ocean waves. Sheila hesitates, then says softly, "You will see her when she is ready." Before the screen goes black, she murmurs, "Almost ready." Lisa Yamada's haunted yet resilient Luna's re-emergence from despondency in the final image encapsulates the essence of The Bold and the Beautiful. It is both tragic and hopeful, profoundly personal and melodramatic. Yamada's departure has been confirmed by reports, leaving admirers in a state of both awe and mourning. Lisa Yamada transformed Luna Nozawa from an optimistic newcomer to one of the most complex, tormented protagonists of the modern B&B era in just over a year. Her performance was a bridge between generations, capturing the emotional honesty that defines the show at its finest. Her departure signifies the end of an era. The narrative of Luna has permanently altered the landscape of Los Angeles's most glamorous battleground, regardless of whether she ultimately dies, vanishes, or rises from her remains reborn. As the final montage unfolds, the narration serves as a reminder to viewers that beauty and tragedy are inextricably linked in this world. Steffi gazes out at the ocean, Finn holds Luna's butterfly necklace, RJ whispers "I'm sorry" to an empty sketchpad, Poppy traces her daughter's handwriting through tears, and Sheila gazes toward the horizon with a sense of pride. "We construct our lives on the foundation of lies and love," the voiceover declares. And on occasion, in order to rediscover ourselves, we must relinquish everything. Luna Nozawa, a character in Lisa Yamada's work, has accomplished this. One truth remains: The Bold and the Beautiful will never be the same without her, regardless of whether this is her end or solely her rebirth. The week commences in Los Angeles with a complete emotional upheaval as the news circulates that Luna Nozawa's body has yet to be located. However, the authorities are beginning to suspect the worst. The atmosphere at Forrester Creations is eerily subdued. It is no longer the glamorous, bustling hub of fashion that it once was, but a void in which the air is thick with mourning. The collection Luna never completed, the sketches that once promised a dazzling future, are on exhibit before Steffi Forrester. Ridge discreetly joins her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. She possessed talent, he murmurs. Real talent. Steffi nods, but she remains conflicted. Despite her feelings of pity, the shadow of everything that has transpired remains, the tension, the lies, the gunfire, and the terror Luna once brought into her home. Steffi concedes, it is intricate. She caused harm to those I hold dear. However, she was bewildered. It was as though she was uncertain of her rightful place. Bill gazes at the morning paper at the Spencer residence in the interim. Luna Nozawa missing, Forrester designer presumed dead. His coffee remains unfinished. Will, who is now mature beyond his years, quietly observes his father, detecting the guilt that continues to gnaw at him. You believe that it is your fault, Will remarks. Bill does not refute it. He confesses, his voice low, I informed her that she would never see the baby again. I intended to frighten her and convince her of the repercussions. He falters, I did not intend. Will softly responds, sometimes people break before they bend. The line struck Bill hard, reflecting Luna's fragility and the words that drove her over the edge. The father and son sit in silence until Will softly replies. Regret is the most unfamiliar emotion for a man who is accustomed to control, and Don Diamant portrays it with calm devastation. In another part of the city, Poppy's sorrow is transformed into an obsession. She is certain that her daughter is alive. Her intuition is like a second pulse, a throbbing pain that refuses to subside. She repeatedly plays the anonymous postcard, scrutinizing each curve of Luna's handwriting and the subtle graphite stain in the corner that would only be apparent to someone who was familiar with Luna's drawing style. Poppy murmurs to herself, her eyes brimming with maternal resolve, she's out there. And I will locate her. However, she is unable to do so independently. That is the moment she makes a remarkable decision, to locate the sole individual who is capable of navigating the underworld of secrets, false deaths, and disappearances. She visits Deacon Sharp. Deacon is currently operating behind the counter at Il Giardino, where he is endeavoring to reconstruct his life following the alleged death and resurrection of Sheila. He is halted by Poppy's abrupt arrival. You were more familiar with Sheila than any other individual, she states plainly. Where would an individual go if they desired to vanish completely? The deacon observes her with suspicion. Why do I have the impression that this is about more than your daughter's memory? Poppy leans in. Because she is not deceased. The sentence is delivered with the force of a detonation. The deacon's expression undergoes a series of changes, beginning with disbelief, followed by curiosity, and ultimately dread. Do you believe that Sheila is involved? He inquires, his voice faintly trembling. Poppy nods as she slides the postcard across the table. Deacon examines it, and a glimmer of light appears in the corners of his eyes. He remarks, I have previously encountered that symbol. The butterfly. Sheila once explained to me that it signified rebirth and transmutation.